Okay, so I'm on my main branch. We're in episode 5, and let's just check. So we have multiple different episodes here. This is my personal. We're going to do get checkout dash B episode 5. If you haven't already, now we're on the episode 5 from our most recent main branch. Okay, so we can delete all this, and let's go into Postgres and do Docker compose up dash D to actually get our database running again. Okay, great, it's up and running. And let's just verify that we're able to connect to the database. So we just ran our code here and we do get PG connection back. And I can also do DB list tables and see if there's any in there. Looks like I still have empty cars in there. So I'm going to do DB remove table and I'm going to pass in the PG connection and then the name of the table. Okay, so now we've got a clean database, right? There's nothing in there. Okay, so I want to work on this function here, and I'm just going to copy paste some old code of mine. And let's go into the R folder. Now we're going to type wget, and then we're going to paste that value. All right. And now we have this connection Postgres function in here. Actually, I'm just going to delete that line there. Okay, so let's rebuild our package. So I'm hitting Control-Shift-B. We've popped this function into our package. Okay. And now it should be callable. So we've got connection Postgres right here. Okay. And if we run this, let's see if we get a response back. Okay. And it worked. Perfect. All right. So we're going to step inside this function and check it out, but as well, probably clean up a little bit because this is an old function. Okay. So let's look at, let's call the debugger on connection Postgres and let's step into it. Okay. So a couple things. We are now passing in Postgres host port on top of user password and DB. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you go into your .r environment file. Make sure that you have port 5432 and localhost as well inside of this file. Okay? And once you do, make sure that you restart R, okay? So that you can actually get the value back, right? Postgres. Because it requires a restart in order to get these environment variables in there. Let's step through here. All right, I'm gonna hit source and then it's gonna stop whenever we get to the Postgres function. Okay, so you can see this pane is opened up. We're in our debugger. And let's just take a look, right? So we have multiple values which are coming in as null. Okay, so this is our function here. They're all set to default. So if we notice that the value is null, then we're going to actually go and get that value from the environment file and try that, right? So now we've actually got Postgres host, and this is going to fill out down here as we step through here, right? Okay, so this is pulling from our environment variables. Now, I've also got this set up so that if your connection fails on the first try, it's going to try again. And actually, what I want to do is I want to update the parameter here. So instead of it being a default 5 times to check to see if the connection works, then maybe we want to do it 10 times or 1 time or no times, right? So what we can do here is go back to our connection Postgres function, okay? And we could do something like this. N connection tries is equal to 5. Okay, so we can save that. And then let's fill this in right here. N connection tries. Okay. So let's step through here and see what else is happening. Okay. So we save, build. We've updated our function. And now if we look at it here, you'll see that we have end connection tries. Okay. So let's run it. Let's do end connection tries. Let's just do 3, and let's hit the code here. Okay, now let's step into it. We're going to step through. Going to get those values from the environment file. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen. So we're going to attempt to connect here, right? So repeat is basically saying just do this over and over unless you hit some sort of break. What we're trying to get is to this break here. So if I hit next and we actually run, it looks like we actually have a connection here. And inherits gives us a way of checking the class of a function. So if I said inherits empty cars as data.frame, right? Then that's true. However, if this was integer or something, right, it's false. What you can also do is you can check class of empty cars and see that it does return a data frame. But check this out. If we were to check out this as a tibble, empty cars, okay, and then we did class around this, you'll see that there's other types of values that you could pass in inherits as well. So while empty cars tbl.df won't work, if we were to convert this to a tibble, then you would see that it is in fact true. So let's check our connection and do class, okay? And it looks like the value is a PQ connection. So what I'm going to say here is if the connection contains PQ connection, then it's a good connection, right? And if so, then we should be good to go, right? So if it inherits PQ connection, then break. Otherwise, what's going to happen is it's going to increment our end value, and then this whole block is going to repeat. So try to get to the connection. If it has a PQ connection, then break. Otherwise, increment, say your connection failed, and then try to connect again. So let's see what this might look like if we actually did this incorrectly. So Postgres user, it's going to do all the other defaults, but I'm just going to put in bad code there, right? And if we undebug, we want this to actually step through. So I'm going to call undebug here. Okay. You see how it failed 6 times, and it said, hey, you know, we failed, we tried, we failed, we tried. However, if I were to do the right name, then it's going to get what I passed it here, and then check the other environment variables. So you can do a mixture of your own inputs and environment variables, or you could just put in all of your defaults here and not use environment variables at all. Although I would say that that's probably not the best practice here. Okay, so going to save and restart, and now we have a nice clean function for getting access to our database. We don't have to do anything with it. We can just simply, you know, say, you know, here's Reddit suite, and then pull in the function. All right. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say git add all git commit -m added connection Postgres. Okay. Now we can say git push origin episode 5. And if we check out our code right here, we can compare, right? And we can see that, in fact, our new function is there. Okay. We've added, actually, I need to delete something here. So we don't want this function because we're not going to use it, and we don't need hello. So I'm going to delete that as well. But that's why these PRs are good, right? Because you can see all the changes that you've made, and we've decreased our main.r file substantially, right? So I'm going to install and restart, and then we're going to see that it's saying it's deleting M variable, it's deleting hello world. And we're getting this setup in S exports object listed as export but not present in namespace. And basically, if we delete functions, sometimes Roxygen can have a hard time figuring out what to do next. So all we're going to do is delete main and then delete description, and then delete namespace, delete, yes. We're going to build and reload again. I am hitting Control-Shift-B, and it looks like everything worked. It said writing namespace, so this all looks good. And now we're going to git add, git commit, and then we're going to say we fixed documentation error. Okay. Now we can hit git push origin episode 5, and we can see that we deleted a function that I made. This is probably not there in yours, and then the rest of the man file, the man folder, git push origin episode 5. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we've cleaned up and added a function to our package. Now let's document it. Okay. So if we were to look at our function, it now has a help section here, right? But this is pretty boring. There's not a whole lot of useful information here. So what we could do is we could add some a description. Okay. So if we were to build and reload down here, Control-Shift-B again, and we look at our function, we see that now we have a description. Okay, great. Well, let's add some more. So these are in the order that I use them most frequently. Okay, so I'm going to build and reload. Now let's check our documentation. So we've got Reddit Suite. Oh, not the Reddit Suite. We've got Connection Postgres, right? And now we see, oh, well, now we've got some parameters, right? Some arguments. However, this is actually not correct because we've updated this, right? So I'm going to remove this, remove this, remove this, and I can say PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL here. Okay. Okay, so I think that looks good. So we've added a description, parameter explanations, and then the export here is saying that we're actually going to export this function and use it in our package. So if you don't have export with this value here, then it's not going to show up in your package. All right, so I'm going to install and restart. Again, going to go to the terminal and do git add all, git commit -m, finalize connection Postgres. Okay. Now we're going to do git push origin episode 5. So in our README here, readme.rmd. Okay. So we're going to gut some of this stuff. We're going to gut the package setup notes, okay, and git here, and basically everything. All right. So I'm going to add the location for each of the episodes. So location, git location per episode, right? And then this is going to be episode 5. And this is just the markdown way of creating a link. So inside of README RMD, we're going to hit knit. And now if you clicked on episode 5, it would actually take you to episode 5. So I'm going to push real quick. So git add all, git commit -m, update README. Okay, now git push origin episode 5. All right, so this is getting pushed, and here in a second, our episode 5 README, right? We're on episode 5. It's going to update with this value. Now, let's go ahead and create a pull request for episode 5. Okay, we see that it's going to go into the main branch. We've added this function connection Postgres. We've cleaned up our README. Right, this is the markdown value of the README over here. So if I hit knit, what it's actually doing is it's creating this readme.md file down here, okay, which is what GitHub is reading. But we've updated the README. Main.r is a lot cleaner. This is the documentation for connection Postgres, which was generated by Roxygen from that man folder. Looks like some data was removed from the README since we're not using all of the figures in the README anymore. Hello is deleted. And then we also have this episode 5 txt. So now that I'm looking at this, I think, well, okay, that's fine. But actually what we want to do is use wget, right? Because that was the command that we used to get this. And actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to delete notes altogether, okay? Delete. And I'm going to look here in the README, readme.rmd. Okay, we've already got it up. I'm going to close this here. And I'm going to say git location, okay? And then, well, let's see here. Episode 5, okay? Episode 5, and then this is the link, GitHub link, okay? And then we're also going to have commands used. Used in episode 5, okay? Git commit, git push. Okay, so now if we open up, we see that's there. This all looks good. But then if we scroll down, we still have our scripts and nope. Nope, I don't think that this is the same. So this just got added to the end of this down here. So all of that got removed, but this was added. There we go. There's our readme.md. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that looks good. All right. And I'm going to, we're going to merge, confirm merge. Okay, we're going to close. Now I am going to go to the main branch, git checkout main. Okay. We see that we have our original code, but if I do a git pull origin main, git branch, git branch, git pull origin main. Okay, we see that we've got our updates. We've got our connection Postgres, right? And what we can do now is a git checkout -b episode 6. All right, great. Thank you.